I'm quite confident and I'm hoping that we succeed this time. As you well know, that we had lost our previous attempt, the Chandrayaan 2. Those glitches hopefully have been fixed by ISRO. It is very necessary to attract talent, to catch people young, to fire their imagination, as Dr. Kalam had also mentioned when he was alive. And that's the way to go about it. We are now in a position to influence space policy, and that is really required with the space exploration picking up.
Hello, I'm Tripti Nath, and I'm very pleased to get this golden opportunity to have a conversation with none other than Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, who is the only Indian to have had a first hand experience of a space flight over 7 days, 21 hours, and 40 minutes to be precise. A former Indian Air Force pilot, Wing Commander Sharma brought eternal glory to India in 1984 by becoming the first Indian citizen to enter space. It was in the autumn of 1982 that he was selected to go into space as part of a joint program between the Indian Air Force and the Soviet Interkosmos space program. On his return, he was conferred the honor of the Hero of the Soviet Union. India also conferred the highest peacetime gallantry award, the Ashok Chakra, on him and two Soviet members of his mission, Malyshev and Strekalov. Sharma was also a key figure in ISRO's National Advisory Council for Gaganyaan, overseeing the astronaut selection program. Welcome once again, Wing Commander Sharma, to join us on Awaz-The Voice. We're really grateful that you've joined us despite your very busy schedule. Wing Commander Sharma now lives in Kunur in Tamil Nadu. So, my first question to you is Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh recently said India is the fifth among spacefaring nations having end to end capabilities in space research and development, including the capability to launch from our own land and operate programs of Earth observation, satellite communication, meteorology, space science and navigation, and ground infrastructure. To what extent do you agree with him?
I agree with him totally because what he's telling us really is indeed the journey ISRO has been making these last 4 or 5 decades, and it's really been spectacular. We, despite technology denial, we have been, making steady progress, starting off with very small baby steps. And today we are not only preparing to launch a manned space program and our own astronauts, but we are also putting satellites in orbit for friendly nations or as a commercial venture. So, yes, we've got end to end capabilities. The launcher is ours. We know how to manufacture satellites. We know how to put them into orbit. We've done that for our country. We've done it for other countries. We are part of scientific programs which are run by global space powers. And we have also demonstrated uh, a safe return from space of the capsule unmanned, and also an autonomously landing remotely piloted vehicle, which is a scaled down model, say, of the space shuttle. So, yes, what he says is right. We have end to end capabilities today.
The fate of the Chandrayaan 3 mission is uppermost on everybody's minds, and everybody is checking out these ISRO images just about at regular intervals. What would its success mean for India? Dr. Jitendra Singh said that India will be the fourth country in the world to achieve this feat after the United States, Russia, and China. But India will be the only country in the world to land on the lunar South Pole.
Yeah, that is what is. That's how it's transpired. If the Russian attempt had succeeded, they would have landed a day or two earlier. Unfortunately, their craft has crashed into the moon surface on the southern side of the moon, the dark side. And we've still got 2 more days to go. And I'm quite confident and I'm hoping that we succeed this time. As you well know, that we had lost our previous attempt, the Chandrayaan 2, but those glitches hopefully have been fixed by ISRO.
Right, inshallah. After a wait of more than 3 decades, a manned mission is targeted for launch in the fourth quarter of 2024. It has been 34 years from the time you went to space, and is therefore natural to ask you if it bothers you that your record would be broken.
Tripti, there is a very good reason why there has been this gap of, well, 39 years actually. And that is
Yes.
because ISRO has been doing a very, very focused program which has been based on a blueprint uh, laid down by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. And he had insisted that the benefits of space technology should really trickle down to improve the lives of our country's citizens. Now, this whole program was designed in such a manner that the trickle down effects improve the country's economy, improves the reach of education, say healthcare, disaster management, communication connectivity, weather forecasting. So, all of this reaches and touches the lives of every Indian citizen. And ISRO has remained focused on that initial part of the blueprint, and therefore they didn't have the bandwidth at that time. And remember that I think it was a very courageous move to come this far, because India, for the most part, has been a developing nation. It's only now that we are knocking at the doors of being called a developed nation. So they had to prioritize. They didn't have the bandwidth to do everything at the same time. And that is why the manned program was put onto the back burner. But now, having realized most of the aims of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, having now we can, like I had said earlier, we design our own satellites, we put them in orbit, we milk the data, which has been helping our country's economy and in various other spheres, as I had mentioned earlier. Now is the time to now do other stuff, and that other stuff is science. And so we are getting ready. That is why Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, Aditya is waiting in the wings. So now that is where we are, and it is necessary to do all of that primarily because we have now, because of our success rate and the way ISRO has run its program, we can be, we have got a seat, I would say, on the high table along with the other space powers. And therefore, we are now in a position to influence space policy. And that is really required with the space exploration picking up.
Right. What do you think of the space sector reforms announced by the government in June 2020? Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken path breaking decisions like unlocking the space sector for public private partnership. And it is estimated that based on the current trajectory of growth, India's space sector could be a 1 trillion US dollar economy in the coming years.
Yeah, and I think it was inevitable that this would happen. And the reason for that is now that we have established our credibility as a launch service provider and customers are queuing up because we are rather, I would say, we run our space programs very frugally and we are highly competitive in this market, that of putting satellites into space. So, with so many customers queuing up to utilize our services, ISRO, their bandwidth once again was getting clogged because we have to increase our number of launches. And ISRO, and this has become kind of routine for ISRO. And it was taking their focus away from other stuff like science collaboration or the manned space program. The future, which is of space exploration, it was very difficult, getting difficult for ISRO to manage both. So stuff which has become routine, what is being farmed off to the private sector, quite like it has been done in the developed countries as well. So that the routine stuff is done by the private industry, and the research, the development, the further exploration, ISRO will continue to do successfully as it has been doing up until now.
What are the challenges that India's space exploration program is facing?
One is that of, say, trained manpower. In the past, we have lost due to brain drain. There are a lot of Indians working with NASA, as you know. So that is one challenge. So, recruitment of indigenous talent for future research work, that is the other. Because space being a very niche sector, the employment opportunities are rather limited. But however, I would say with the industry opening up to the private sector, things are definitely bound to improve. So really, these are the challenges for the future. So it is very necessary to attract talent, to catch people young, to fire their imagination, as Dr. Kalam had also mentioned when he was alive. And that's the way to go about it. And indeed, when I keep visiting educational institutions, I do see that a lot of people want to take up this. Only thing is that everybody should understand what they're getting into, and it should not be that kind of a herd mentality like it has been in the past during the dot com. I won't say bust, but when dot com was, computers were booming and software industry was booming. So this will require a different kind of focus and a different kind of work and application. And but I'm sure that the Indian intrinsic capability to innovate, that will remain intact, and that is where we are counting in, and we have a demographic dividend for that sort of thing.
Mr. Modi keeps talking about it.
Yeah.
How would you rate the annual special Young Scientists program, Yuva Vigya Karikram Yuvika, launched by ISRO in 2019, which has been attended by 603 students in 2019, 2022, and 2023? I mean, you talked of attracting young talent.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is what is going to net quite a few interested youngsters. And once you get that kind of a training, essentially you're getting an exposure. When I was bringing up my children, it was my intention also to try and expose them to the various uh, professions that are available, so that they can at least go there and have a better idea of what is the kind of life these different professionals live, so that they know what they're getting into. And I think this is a very good move with the youngsters having visited all these sort of space centers, which not everybody gets a chance to do, and they can see from up close what is the kind of work that is being done, what are the challenges which are there, and all of this is going to fire their imagination. And those who are really, really keen are going to stay with this, make it their dream, and make it their aim to achieve excellence in their chosen field. That's what we are hoping for, because we do need a stream of intelligent youngsters who can continue this trajectory of ISRO, which up till now has been very good.
Right. This conversation would be incomplete if I do not ask you to recollect your incredible space journey in the summer of 1984. For you, it must be just yesterday. How you were handpicked. I understand you volunteered, and it was a very rigorous selection. I think there were 150 people to be picked up from, and I think only two were chosen. and your unforgettable patriotic description of India in your conversation with the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindustan Hamara, which the whole world remembers to date, and how difficult it was for you to readapt to gravity on return.
Well, yeah, it was difficult, but what worked for me, or what would have worked for anybody from our country who was selected to go up, was that it was such an interesting opportunity, because space has always enamored every generation. When I was a school kid, that's when Yuri Gagarin went up. Then the moonshots happened. So it was like science fiction coming alive, and the same kind of a, shall I say, the feeling is being awakened once again with the Indian manned space program waiting in the wings to take off. So this is what I feel is a very good chance as far as my own flight was concerned. What was difficult about it was that both Ravish Malhotra and myself, we had to learn a new language. We had to adjust to professionals of a different country. We had to adjust to a new country. And however, the professional part of it, the training, that was not all that challenging, because both Ravish and myself were experienced test pilots when we were selected. And so that bit was easy, but the rest of the adaptation was difficult. You asked about the flight itself. Yeah, the flight, once again, there is a limited amount of training that can be given, mm, primarily because it's difficult to replicate zero gravity for long periods of time on Earth. It's physically impossible. Therefore, a lot of that learning was on the job. And however, it was nothing new. One had read up on it. What are the changes that occur? So all of that helped us, and the training which we received, how to handle high G forces for longer periods of time, uh, all of that came to help us during that adaptation. Readaptation towards gravity. And what happens is that if you're there for a week, it is akin to lying in bed without moving a muscle for a week,
Wow.
because it's zero gravity and everything is weightless, right? So your muscular tone kind of goes down, and your heart is also a muscle, and the blood pattern. Blood does not, the heart does not have to pump blood against gravity towards the head. So these changes, physiological changes occur. And then by the time you come down, everything reverses, because now you're back in gravity. And the human body, physiologically, has to readapt to the presence of gravity. But adaptation and readaptation to Earth's gravity, within a day, day and a half, you're back to the new normal. So that's the beauty of the human body.
Right. Lastly, I would like to know, I mean, with the newfound thrust on space exploration by this government, is India likely to reach a stage where it gets its own go getter, like Elon Musk?
Well, I don't know. The truthful answer to that is that up till now, India has done everything differently. It has never got into any kind of competition with any other superpower. We've had our own agenda, which was to, like I had explained earlier, that space technology must help the common man. So we've done everything differently. You take the way we overcame the lack of a very well developed uh, launcher which couldn't reach the moon directly. So we used science and the slingshot maneuver, gained speed. It took a longer time, but it used less fuel and less thrust. And that's how we've been running our program. And keeping all of that in mind, what I'm trying to drive home is the fact that innovation, you call it innovation, you call it jugaad, whatever you call it, this we are likely to break new ground, doing things differently, and I'm sure that we are likely to succeed. As far as Elon Musk is concerned, my only hope is that whatever solution we come out with, we think through and see what the further effects are of the new science which we are going to be doing. I give you an example. I mean, science had split the atom, but it ended up making an atom bomb, a nuclear arsenal. So let's see what kind of science we are doing. The stated intention really is to get to know our celestial neighborhood and maybe to inhabit the moon first. So whether an individual does it, um, I don't know whether an individual needs to do it. The vision is there, the brains are there, and I would say the wherewithal is there with our economy, getting ready to boom, becoming a 5 trillion economy. So it seems to me our systemic improvement is going to take us through. We just need good policymakers, and we just need continuity so that things don't keep changing at short notice.
Right. As somebody who's been to space, what is your gut feeling about Chandrayaan 3? I mean, will we be celebrating day after tomorrow?
Most certainly, we will be.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much once again, Wing Commander Sharma. And we are very, very honored that you gave us a chance at short notice. And hopefully, we will be saying congratulations to each other day after tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.